Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome to Ely, Nevada. Nevada? I do that. Nevada. Don't say Nevada. They get mad. So we are in Ely. We just drove up here from, I know to say Nevada. Peoc? Pioch? Peoki? Pioche? I have no idea. It's a little town right down here. We just drove up here, and the reason why is I hooked up, as you can see, this is our owned log trailer. I was curious because I was under the impression that it was only going to be, that the only jobs that were going to spawn for it would be logs in the Oregon DLC. Not so. There are jobs for it all over, and in this case, we didn't get logs, we got pipe, which makes perfect sense. So, fantastic. Now, as you can see, I didn't skin, this is the Viper 389, which also has an option for a 379 build, and we're using it to look like a 378. I didn't skin it yet, so it's just blue. It's just our corporate blue. And when I made our trailer, I went ahead and made that blue too. So this looks, I have to admit, with no skin on it, this looks a little ridiculous. It's just all blue. It's so much blue. So in hindsight, I should have left that trailer black, but I didn't see it till I got it hooked up. By the time I got it hooked up, what are you going to do? So it is, I want to say 3:30, 4 a.m. Sun's going to be up momentarily, so let's get rolling. Now, the first thing we need to do is get fuel, because I didn't, and we're just about out of fuel. So let us go. I see a stop right here. Let's go right down here, get some fuel, and then we'll hit the road. And by the time we get done messing about with fuel, etc., it ought to be just about sunrise. So, and what's our weight? Let's take a peek here. 40,000 pounds. Wow, that is some thick wall tubing. But you know what? We ain't as scared. Get back to the map, turn that off. We got sat-nav in-dash, and here we go. So yeah, I lost an entire day. I don't know if you've ever done that. I lost an entire day of the week. I thought today was Thursday, and I was going to record a race for you. I've been away from racing for a little while, and as we get rolling here, I'll tell you what's up. I'll tell you what time it is. But I've been getting very much back into racing, and as of, well, today's Friday. As of Monday, I will be back on my wheel. I planned this poorly. I wanted to swing out and cut it, and I swung out before I cut it, and now we're way out in traffic. But we're okay. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. What the hell was I talking about? As of Monday, I'll be back on my wheel, and I really want to get back into racing. So when I didn't lose my wheel. I just couldn't travel with my wheel. I am on the road, and I couldn't take my wheel with me. So I had most of my sims configured for the wheel, most of my race sims configured for the wheel, and did not want to, for lack of a better word, like unconfigure anything and go back to the gamepad. So I was just sort of staying away from race sims temporarily. And then I had my little foray right around Christmas time. I had my little foray into RPG gaming, which was fun, and I'm glad I did it. But if nothing else, it sort of confirmed for me that my, like, one and only real, true gaming love is sim gaming, in particular racing. I really do love it. So I will be getting back into racing on the wheel as of Monday. But in the meantime, I've been getting everything up to date and making sure everything is patched up appropriately and good to go. And it is, for the most part. That's the great thing about Steam. And I stayed away from Steam for a long time. I thought it was a gimmick, but I'm a true believer now. And one of the things that is awesome about it is it keeps all your games up to date as far as patches and updates. When you're on serial number, you need to find that stuff. Sometimes it'll do it automatically. Sometimes you got to do it manually. I can just barely see the glow from the bottom of that light. There we go. Beautiful. sometimes when you, even a serial number game, even a DVD game, when you log in, it'll say, you know, patch is available, update is available, whatever. Some of them do that. I would even say most of them do that. Some of them, you gotta like hunt that down manually. And with Steam, you don't have to do any of that. It keeps everything totally up to date. So everything was up to date on all my race sims. There were a couple. I had already bought the ADAC, the 2018 ADAC pack for Race Room from their store. Yeah, I think that was about it. There's no new DLC or significant mods available for any of my race sims, so everything's up to date. And I've been spending a lot of time in the Mercedes, and that's the car that I really want to focus on in iRacing, is the Mercedes AMG GT3. So I've been spending a lot of time there. I did a 90-minute race with time acceleration at Le Mans. So it did the full day-night cycle, and we got a little bit of weather. It rained. I had to pull in and get wets. So it's that's been fun. And then I also, I don't know why exactly. I mean, there's no, it's not like there's a bad, I guess you don't even really need any reason at all, maybe? I don't know. But I decided to just pick a track and learn it in Race Room. This is always dicey pulling into this middle. I think we're going to be okay. Right. Neutral. Set the brake. Lights off. Engine off. Let's fuel up. I just sort of picked a track that I wasn't really familiar with, and I ended up on the Hungaroring, which I've done a few times in the Formula One franchise from Codemasters, but not, that's the only time I race that track. Like, there's plenty of other tracks that I just really love in any sim. So something like the Nordschleife, or the full NERB setup, I guess, is the one I prefer now. The full 24-hour setup with both the Grand Prix course and the Nordschleife. Laguna Seca is a favorite of mine. Brakes off. All right, here we go. Trying to think what other tracks. Hockenheimring, I really like that one. But I had not spent a ton of time on the Hungaroring outside of, like I said, the F1 franchise on Codemasters. So it was very cool to learn a new track, and it took me probably 5 or 6 laps just to like remember where all the turns are. And in Race Room right now, I've got about 60 laps on that track, and I'm about like 1 to 1.5 seconds off the pole, which doesn't sound like a lot. Like 1 second, shoot, that's hardly anything. But in racing, that's like 1.5 seconds puts me, I think I've got 29 AI cars, and 1.5 seconds off the pace puts me in like P20 on the grid. So I got a ways to go there to take that other second off, but I think I'll be able to. I am working with an absolute base setup, and that's been my new policy when it comes to setup is, you know, I typically have a setup that I prefer. A little bit less anti-roll bar in the front, slightly softer tires, so a little bit less tire pressure. I tend to run a medium to hard compound because I do prefer endurance racing. So there are plenty of things that I know I just like in my setup, and I can even do them because I have so many laps in that particular car in all sims in that big Mercedes. There are plenty of things that I can just do them, like before I've even taken a lap in the car, I can just make these sort of generic adjustments to the setup that I know I'm going to make anyway because I always make them. But I'm trying something new now, and what I'm doing is trying to build like a base lap time using just the absolute generic flat stock setup for that car per sim. And then once I have my lap times down to within about 1/10 of a second of each other consistently, like when I can run, say on the Hungaroring, when I can run 150s all day long, 149.9 to 150.1, when I can do that, then I'll start messing with setup. But I want to get out of the habit of changing the setup before I've even seen how the car is performing. So that's what's going on there. But the reason I mention all that, and what I started to say, was I lost a day. I was going to do a race today because we haven't done a race on the channel in months. We really haven't. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about Project Cars, and I know Project Cars 2, to be specific, although I think it's reasonable at this point just to say Project Cars. You don't need to include the 2, but I'll include it anyway. OCD said I should. I was thinking of doing a Project Cars 2 race on Friday, today, because it's such an immersive game. It's a really gorgeous game to look at. Physics may not be perfect, AI may not be perfect, but it's a really beautiful game. And I feel like there's been some patches to that too that have kept it really looking good. I know I just got new NVIDIA drivers. They updated a couple days ago. The GeForce experience, which is Shadow Play, which I use for capture, that updated. So I was hoping I could really make a gorgeous racing video. Probably Project Cars 2, potentially Race Room. And I would have had to record that on Thursday. It would have rendered, my renders right now are taking between 6 and 10 hours. And then because I'm on this slow internet, it's taking like, well, my last farm video took like a full 24 hours to upload. So I would have had to record it yesterday morning, let it render all day, and then start uploading it in the afternoon or evening, and it would have uploaded all evening, all during the night, and then hopefully by midday today, I would have been able to make it live for you. And I was going to do that on Thursday, today. And then this morning I woke up and realized it's Friday. So I lost a day somewhere. But since we post truck video on Saturday, ATS. Can't do a race vid for you unless I do a truck vid for you today, get this into render, and then tomorrow, Saturday, I will record a race for you and post it on Sunday, which is, there were 2 on the channel. There were originally 2 race days, Friday and Sunday. Sunday makes perfect sense because it's the day everybody goes racing. And Friday because we just kind of had a gap in the schedule. So I did not get a race video up for you on Friday, but I will try to get one up for you on Sunday. And it will be either Project Cars 2 or Race Room. We'll see. Anyway, that's what's going on. I lost a day. I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened. What else is going on? Nothing. We're making our way. We're going to Carson City. We are not heading north. We're heading due west. We're probably going to go into California and mess about a little bit over there. I was thinking maybe we go down to LA, possibly all the way down to San Diego, because at the moment, at least when I checked yesterday, there's no release date yet for the Washington DLC, and that means it's probably like a month or 2 out. We don't need to get up to Northern Oregon, to be like poised and ready, waiting for the Washington DLC to drop. I think it's a little ways out. I would love to, if I time it just right, I would love to get to a city in the northern part of Oregon just a couple days before the Washington DLC drops, so our next episode, right on schedule, we just leave from that city and head into the new DLC. That's what I'd like to do. Maybe it'll work out that way. Maybe not. But until I know a date, we've still got plenty of map to explore. And in fact, with 1.34, there were some new roads that were added that we have not driven on yet. So let me make a note, let me make a commitment to, at the end of this episode, take a look at the map and see if there are any roads in California or near where we are that we can explore that we haven't explored yet. And maybe we can get those, we can check those boxes. We can tick those, so to speak. I will forget to do that. I do that all the time. I say at the end of the episode, I will, whatever. And then I totally forget. But what are you going to do? So yeah, no new news on any DLC from any sim that I know of, and no release dates on any of the sims that I have on my wish list as far as Dead Stick, Firefighting Simulator, Alaskan Bush Pilot Simulator. No, that is Dead Stick. Alaskan Truck Driver, that's it. The Alaskan Truck Driver and the Siberian Railway Simulator. Both of those, I have to say, I'm not super confident that either one of them are a realistic sim. both of them look more like just kind of fun video games, and I'll take a look at them, and I'm happy to make an episode for you so you can take a peek at it for yourself. If you're thinking about buying it, give you my thoughts on it. But at the moment, both of them look like fun arcade games. And I have to stress fun because I'm trying to keep it positive. I don't want to suggest that because they're not a realistic or trying to be a realistic sim that they're somehow like not good games. They could be great games, but they might just be games. You know what I mean? And not a true sim experience, or not trying to be a true sim experience. But that's fine. There's more than one kind of game in the world. What else is going on? We don't talk about politics here. Obviously, we don't talk about religion. We don't talk about anything serious. We talk about video games. Here's a question for you. Here's something I was thinking about this week. I know I talk about The Division a lot, but to be fair, that game kind of got its hooks into me, man. I know games are like designed to be addictive. Developers want you to play their games obsessively, but jeezy Pete's, that RPG model. Like I mentioned dopamine in a farm video, and if there is any game that takes that like dopamine response to an absurd level, it is RPG, because you're like a little cocaine addicted rat, just banging on that bar. Give me my cocaine, give me my cocaine. And you just know if you hit that little bar with your little rat paw, you'll get that good feeling you want. And RPG is the same way. If you play the game for 15 minutes, you'll find it won't be the piece of gear that you want when you get into like end game, but you'll get something. You'll get a little hit of something. And I'm serious, man. Like when they talk about video game addiction, a lot of times they're talking about RPG games, because they really are a reward system that truly messes with your brain. So I know I talk about The Division a lot, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Hey, so there are 14 gear sets, which are like very powerful combinations of gear that you can combine and wear, and they make your character they account good armor, and they give you good skills, and they make your character powerful enough to go out into harder and more dangerous areas of the map. Well, there's 14 of them. And your character at any given moment can have 6 different loadouts, right? 6 different configurations of gear. And there's 14 of them. Well, you can have up to 4 characters. And it's like, oh, game, what are you doing to me? So I started another character and I leveled it up, and that took a minute. That took a long minute. But it went much faster the second time, because I knew everything that I learned the first time. And what's funny is each of them now holds 6 of these loadouts, and there are 14 gear sets. So I have 2 gear sets that I would need to level up a 3rd character if I wanted to use those last 2. So I'm not going to. 2 is enough. 2 is enough. But I realized as I was going through with my second character, my first character, and this is the first time I played an RPG game in probably 10 years. My first character, there were some very frustrating and painful moments trying to get my first character leveled up. It was very, very challenging, to the point where I was going on Google and like, am I doing something wrong here? And I wasn't doing anything wrong. I just didn't know what I was doing. Now, second time, a couple things helped. One thing is you share resources between your characters. So my first character has like $50 million in the bank. And that means my second character had access to that money and could buy the best gear available that they could wear at their various character levels. Because you start, level 1, you get points, you go to level 2, level 3. But at any given level, you can only wear gear for that level. But first time around, you don't have any money, and you're looking for it. You're out in the world looking for loot drops, hoping you can get good gear. Well, when you have money, you can just buy the best gear that your character at that moment can wear. So that helped. But it also helped knowing how to configure gear. And there's mods that you can put into slots on your gear that make it even more powerful, and there's ways that you can combine things, and certain weapons work with certain... you get what I'm saying. So here's my question to you. How do you learn to play a game? Because the days of... I remember going to Blockbuster to rent games. And I think for a while you could rent games on Redbox. I don't even know if they're doing that anymore. I think Redbox is just movies at this point. There may be games in there. Maybe. But you would get the little, like, the game was in a case. The DVD was in a little case, like a movie, and inside was a little manual, and it would have, you know, basic controller configurations, like what buttons do what. Well, all that stuff is on screen now. Everybody knows when you get a game, the first thing you do is you go to the options menu and you find controller setup and you see what all the buttons do. Now, a lot of games now have in-game, like, contextual little helper buttons. So, let's say this game was... No, we don't even need to. We can use this game that we're in right now. In ATS, when you pull over one of the green triggers, one of the glowing green triggers, it tells you what button to push to make something happen. So, shooting games, FPS games, as you get close to something that you can interact with, it will tell you what button to use. Tomb Raider and Call of Duty World War II, I think, was the most recent one I saw. It will give you things that you need to do with one of the sticks. Like in Call of Duty, if you're wrestling with somebody and you need to reach over and, you know, grab a rock and hit him in the side of the head, it will show you use your thumbstick and keep it centered, or aim it at the rock, or you know what I'm talking about. Well, it will show you that on screen. So it's like game developers know that this is how we game now. We play a lot of different games and we don't necessarily have time to, I don't want to say learn things, but you know what I'm saying. You just want to jump right in and play. So I'm curious how you learn to play games. Do you look things up on Google? Do you look things up on Reddit? Is it trial and error? Are you methodical? You know, how do you do that? And I guess what I realized when I went through leveling up a character in the Division was, like in life, like in real life, you can't know what you don't know. Sometimes the only way to know something is first to understand that you don't understand it, right? You have to know what you don't know so you can know what you need to learn. And it sounds like I'm being silly there and playing word games, but I'm not. You really need to know that there are things that you don't know, because then you can figure out how to know them. So that's typically how I play games. I am methodical. I don't like trial and error. And I think that's it's part of the OCD. It's part of being autistic. I hate failing. And I understand logically, rationally, that failure is part of life. You know, I can remember my dad telling me a long, long time ago, I was probably 7 or 8 years old, we were watching NASCAR on TV, and we were watching qualifying, and people were stuffing their cars. Not like one after another, but, you know, in qualifying, periodically somebody hits the wall. And I kind of laughed, like, that guy's a bad driver. And my dad, who's an engineer, he told me, no, he's figuring out how fast his car goes. And I said, well, how's he doing that? He hit the wall. And my dad said, yeah, if you want to figure out the fastest that your car can go, the way that you do that is by going too fast. Now, ideally, you go too fast, find that point, and then save it before you hit the wall. But sometimes you don't. And if it's a choice between, you know, preserving both cars, because most NASCAR teams travel with 2 cars. If it's a choice between leaving the track with both cars intact or leaving the track with one car got wrecked in qualifying, but what you learned you used to set up the second car and go win the race, I think most drivers and most crew chiefs and most teams would rather leave a track on Sunday afternoon with a win and 1 wrecked car than 2 intact cars and a 10th place finish, or whatever. So I get that. I mean, that's the whole scientific method, right? Like, in the scientific method, you come up with a hypothesis, or you just realize something, you discover something, and you set about quantifying it, right? Let's put some numbers on it. Let's make it repeatable. Okay, so far so good. It's working. And then you immediately begin trying to tear it apart. You try to find ways to make it not work. You try to find ways to make it inconsistent or invalid. And you do that over and over and over. And when finally it holds up, when finally you can't pull it apart, only then do you present it to peers for peer review. And that's when they all try to pull it apart. That's when they all try to invalidate it. And if they can't pull it apart, that might just become an accepted, valid scientific theory. But that's, I think a lot of people that don't like science or don't get science, they think science is just a bunch of snobby people showing off and thinking they're right all the time. And that's not it. The scientific method at its core is about a willingness to be wrong. Because if you're not willing to be wrong when you're working in your own lab, if you just kind of fudge everything and then send it out for peer review and you're wrong, your peers will rip you apart. It's not a pretty process. They'll just blow you up. So you have to be willing to be wrong on your own so that you know that what you're sending out is right, or at least as right as you can figure out how to make it. And when you apply that to something like gaming, it's like, okay, I'm going to make plenty of mistakes now so that when I do my speed run or whatever, I'll have all those mistakes out of the way. And for me, I don't like making mistakes. I don't like failing. So I play too conservatively sometimes in all sims because I'd rather not fail, I guess. And in something like an RPG where failing means dying. And again, it's not that I think the game is real or anything. I try to play realistically. If I was doing this in real life, I would not ever want to die. And I see other people play online, and I'm watching a lot of people play Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and apparently that is one of the hardest games that's been released recently. It is a very, very difficult game. And I'm watching people play online, and they are just getting absolutely rinsed. Like, it's taking 5 or 6 or 7 tries for really good gamers to beat some of these bosses. And they're, you can tell they're a little bit frustrated, but they're laughing and having a good time. Like, Jesus, this is hard. I had no idea. And for me, that's, I don't want to say I envy that attitude, but I wish I could be that way, which I guess is envy. But I would love to be able to be that lighthearted and really enjoy gaming. But my way of learning a game is much, much more methodical. And I would rather hang back and just kind of dodge a boss for a long, long time looking for a vulnerability rather than, get aggressive and attack looking for a weak spot. Do you attack when he's moving? Do you attack when he's stationary? Do you attack when he jumps? Like, the way that you find that out is by doing it all the ways that are wrong. And for me, I just don't like doing that. I like to be more methodical, but I feel like some of these games, oh no. You know what? We always get this wrong. Moment, please. We're going to put the blinkers on. We're going to look at the map now, because I do this wrong all the time. I just try to, wing it, And, oh. Okay, well, that's easy enough. So we're just going to go around here. Okay, our exit is closed, so we'll go around here. And I hope, yeah. All right, well, we'll see when we get there. Right, flash is off. Brake is off. Back in gear. Oh, that's nice. Letting me in. Very kind of you. Wait, what? You know what? I'm not going down there. Oh, yeah, it is closed. Okay. I saw where the highway patrol SUV was parked out on the actual highway, and I thought maybe I could just sneak around it. You know what? I probably could have. But we'll just go the long way around, because it looks like... Yeah, it looks like that, what was going on up at the top of the ramp was the only obstruction in traffic, so I don't think I know some of those road closures, the actual problem, like whatever's causing the actual blockage in traffic, is 50 miles past where the detour is. And I've burned myself. I've snuck around the detour, and then 50 miles later I realize, oh no, I physically can't get around here. But I think our whole problem was up there at the top of the ramp, so I don't think there's going to be any problems on this side of town, and we can just zip right in. How are we doing on time? 30 minutes. Perfect. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. So I'm curious how you learn to play a game. Do you just jump in and trial and error, make mistakes, have a good time? Are you methodical? Do you go online and do research first? Like, how do you learn to play a game? Because I know my way, I guess it works for me, but I don't know if it would work for other people. And I don't know if the way that other people do it would work for me. And in fact, yeah, we got a couple more minutes to kill. I'll talk at you a little bit more. When I was learning the Hungaroring, I did not turn off AI traffic when I did my first laps, and I was really getting in people's way. I was kind of making a mess of it, and I could have turned off AI. I had the track to myself to sort of simulate like private training, which in real life is what I would do if I had never been on a track before. I would not want to learn it with a bunch of other cars going at maybe not race pace, but a fast practice lap pace. And also, let's do this. Let's hop right out here. Where's the sun? Oh, perfect. There's a little screenshot. Fantastic. So I probably should have tested in private first, but I didn't. And it wasn't that big a deal. But what I'm saying is I was driving very slowly and very methodically to try to figure out where everything was. And, well, in real life, I probably would have got, maybe not black flag for that, but I have a feeling that race control may have got on the radio down to my pit and told them, have your driver pick up the pace a little bit. He's a menace. He's getting in everybody's way. But that's just how I do it. Let's see, where's the sun again? Right there, perfect. So let's do another little screenshot. Fantastic. I'll wait for a green arrow. So yeah, man, I'm sort of, I wouldn't say I'm done for the weekend. Things are going to slow down for me a little bit later in the day. And then I'll be on the road on Sunday, and Monday I will be in a, this is interesting. Is it telling me, told me to go through the gas station. I will not do that. And then Monday I will be in a new Airbnb, which I'm very excited about. It does have a gym, which I'm very excited about. It's got super fast internet, yeah, 3 syllables. It's got super fast internet, which I'm very excited about. And what else? It's in a very cool neighborhood, tons of bars and restaurants. So yeah, I'm super happy. I'm not unhappy with the Airbnb that I'm in right now, but could be better. Could be better, I have to say. And the one that I'm going to is better. So stoked about that. And I owe you a video on Monday. I owe you an ATS video. Where are we going here? All right. I owe you an ATS video on Monday. So what I may do is record that tomorrow, since I'll be traveling Sunday. Clear it. Beautiful. Hey, no tickets, and we didn't hit anything. And you know what's going to happen in this yard up here in this delivery? I'm going to hit something. Right. Where's our spot? Right there. Man, this is a good-looking truck. I love it, and I'm super pleased that we were able to build It's close enough to a 378. You know, short wheelbase, high sleeper. So I'm pleased with it. I'm gonna clear it. What? Oh, I just caught it with the edge of the light. All right, well, now in real life that would have ripped that headlight right off the truck. So we did hit something. As per usual, every episode I got to bump one thing. So we did hit something. That's not too cool. But so it goes. So it goes. Right. A little backup. Maybe. I'm gonna have to go past it and straighten it out. It's giving it to me. I don't really like it. Let's pull forward just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Right. Neutral. Set the brake. Lights off. Engine off. Let's see how we did. We are on time. No damage. Super. 12 grand, not bad. And 36 is our final level. So we've got a ways to go before we level up. But yeah, there you have it. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. We'll see you next time. Take care now.